Okay, I've opened up a new nuke, and first and foremost, what I will normally do is change this to 1 so that my properties only show up one panel. And instead of working with this workspace, I will normally work on the big node view. So it's Shift F2 for the shortcut. And then I'll bring in my spaceship EXR. Okay, so press 1, you will view the EXR. Okay, then also I'll bring in the background. So I've decided to use the HDRI that was present as the background for our shot. So I'll just put down a merge node here. Okay, I'll just move this to the side. So if you click Control, rather if you hold Control, this yellow dot will pop up and it allows you to customize your line, right, your connections. Okay, so this is what we have, and immediately you will see that these two items obviously do not match or color grade. They match what they have. So first and foremost, I'm going to edit the background. I feel that the background is a bit too bright right now. It doesn't feel like space, because if you were to look at our reference here, it's not as bright, or rather it's not as well lit as our reference. So we have to tone that down later. Okay, so to do that, I'll put down a grade node and I'll bring down the multiply. It's not that bright. Okay. So multiply and gain does about the same thing. So if I bring down the gain instead, it has the same effects. Yeah. So normally I'll just tweak with one channel and not the other. Okay, and feel that maybe the contrast can be edited. So I'll just bring this down further. Adjust. Yeah, and maybe desaturate a bit. And by using gamma, I can change the color correct. So maybe I'll just bring up the blue a bit more. Okay, so that this smoke, this fog matches the background a bit more. Alright, so something like that. Okay, so that's the background for now. And also feel that this dot here is a little distracting, stealing away from the spaceship. So what I can do here is I'll put down a reformat, and I will introduce a node called Edge Mirror. Edge Mirror is a gizmo downloaded, and what this does is it extends out my initial background so that what I initially have will be mirrored both sides, both ways. So if I put a transform down and I move it, it's mirrored both sides, as you can see the dot here. Okay, so I'll just move this to a side a little bit more, and then after that I'll crop it so that I optimize my screen space. So it says here that the format is already set. Yeah, So if I reset, it will change back to my 2048 by 858, which is my camera size. Next, I'm gonna work on the spaceship. So for the spaceship, I will have to put down shuffle nodes. So what shuffle node does is it isolates only one layer of all the AOVs that we've previously created in our renderer. So let's say if I put in this and look at it, this is only the environment light. Yeah, so I can rename this by clicking N or just changing from here. So I'll call this environment light. So I'll do this for every single pass that I've created, and I'll merge them through the merge node under the plus operation, because lights are additive. So we just do this. Okay, so over here I've already set up my shuffles and all the passes that I'll be using for this tutorial. Okay, so what I've brought in is the environment lights, the main light, the bottom light that I've created, pyro lights. So if we move to a frame where it's more visible, yeah, here, the pyro lights. I've also brought in the quotes indirect, the specular direct, specular indirect, as well as the emissive. So in the end, it should look a little something like this. Back to this. Okay, so if you look at our final look here, the background is clipping into the foreground, and that's because we are missing a alpha channel. So if I were to look here and I press A, there's no alpha at all, whereas the original EXR contains alpha. So we can bring that in through the shuffle alpha node. So let me just copy this, bring this over. Yeah, so there's still no alpha. So if I go into my alpha and I connect the RGBA.alpha to my output layers alpha, I'll get this. Yeah, so I'll just rename this alpha. Okay, so the way to link the alpha into our current network is through a copy node. So if I put on copy, B will be my original plate and A will be alpha. So just remember A is alpha. Yeah, so if I bring that, show my RGBA, and under my over, the speck of blue from the background will be gone. Okay, so that being said, this is what we have now. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'll color grade a bit of my lights so that it matches a little better to our background. Bottom light, I will want to increase a bit more because as of now it's really dim. So I put on a grade node and I push up the alpha. Sorry, the multiply. It starts to appear a little better. Okay, so if I look back into my final, it shows up a bit more, so it doesn't go into darkness that much. Okay, then I feel that the pyro is a bit too reddish right now, so I put on a color correct node and I come down to gamma and just tweak a little. Be a bit more orange. Something like that. Okay, so I'll just copy this and paste it to my other pyro lights. Yeah, okay, so something like that. Next will be the emissive. I feel like the emissive could add a bit more glow and also a bit more of the light rays coming out of it, So what I can do here is I can put down a volume ray. Yeah. So immediately I'll see nothing here. I'll move this, and this is what I'll get. Okay. So that's what you want. Luma tolerance, I'll bring it up. Edge size. The edge blur. Okay, so most importantly right now is that the length is very long, and it doesn't look realistic. So I'll just tone it down so that it is not that distracting. And then a bit of the blur. Bring down my edge blur for my alpha. And I don't want it to flicker because the lights aren't really flickering. Okay, the fall off, don't really have to touch that, keep it at 500. But the radial fall off, I want it to increase so that it looks a bit softer. Okay, I will put down a AP Glow. AP Glow is also another gizmo that I frequently use. It's really useful because unlike the normal glow, it doesn't create these harsh edges if you go too heavy on the glow. So we can come down here and you see it is immediately a lot softer than using glow. Yeah, so it's a lot softer and more forgiving, which I like. So I'll just include that into my network. So let's see, tweak this intensity and persistence. Persistence is how much the afterglow is coming out. So it's not that strong if I pull it down. I kind of want it to blow out a bit so that I can tone it down in my merge opacity later, or rather the mix. Maybe this I will increase maximum size, and the size fall off. Okay, let's just try this, and we see how it get. And yeah, okay, so it works, but at the same time I lose my emissive detail, and I don't really want that because if not, it will just look like a blurred mess like this. So one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just cast this aside. Okay, and I'm gonna bring down a merge, and I'll merge back my original intensity layout. So I'll just put this to plus, shift X, so that I can change out my B and A's. B is background for merge, A is the stack on top layer. Pull this down a little so that it's not that intense. Okay, something like that. And maybe over here I'll just pull it down a bit, just a bit. So then we take a look at our full shot and we get this. Okay, so I still feel that it's a bit too white, so maybe I'll just increase the contrast a bit more. And under my grade, I will bring it down, something like that. Okay, right, so if I were to look at my reference here, behind the ship there's this very faint glow. Could be coming from the spaceship itself, or it could also be from the space, like outer space. And I want to recreate that look because currently there's really nothing making a outliner behind the ship. So it just feels very flat that way. So one way to create that was through the noise and rotoing it into my shot. Okay, since my shot doesn't really, move that much, it's fairly safe to just place it there and not have it animate. Okay, so if I were to look at my reference, right, I can see a faint glow coming from the back of the ship. This could be from the ship's internal lighting itself, or it could also be coming from space. So I want to recreate that look because it looks interesting and it breaks up the the monotonous background space picture that we have. Okay, so one way to do that is through my noise node and then rotoing it into our shot. And since our shot is not moving a lot, like if I were to look from this frame 6 to frame 75, I can just place it at the back and not have it to animate. So to do that, I'll bring in a merge. Okay, under the background, of course, I'll just put down a roto node. And I'll just draw around here. So I come down to root and I'll just start drawing. Okay, something like that. Okay, so there's nothing right now, and that's because my roto, under my output, I'm using alpha. So if I change this to RGB, I'll get this white glow. Okay, I'll just bring down my opacity a little bit and just feather out a lot. So it's too much. I'll just use this. Yeah, I'll just bring this down. Just bring it down a little bit. Okay, I'll just use this. Okay. And then I will put down a noise node. And instead of putting it through background, I will use a mask. So by masking, I'll get this broken up feeling to the lights. So I'll come down to my noise and I will just edit how I need it to. So let's say something like that. Maybe something like that. And noticing how it's white right now, I'll just come down to color under my roto node. I'll come down to shape, select, and let's just change the color of this. Okay. So maybe something like that. Yeah, and also now it looks very clean. I'll put down an AP glow. And it just softens out the whole shot, or rather the backlight itself. Okay, I'll just make it way brighter than it needs to be. Then later I will tone it down. Don't need overscan, I'll just crop it down. Same goes for the one that I've created just now. Crop the format. And okay, so something like that, right? So if I come here, I'll get this big bright glow that closely resembles this, but of course this is a bit too much right now. So I'll just tone down this, bring it down, bring it up higher. Okay, maybe my roto, I can bring down this. Yeah. Something like that. So it creates this backlight feeling. Okay. Maybe the color is a bit too white. Okay, something like that. Yeah. That works. Okay, so now currently there's this overscan on top. So to take that away, I'll just use a crop. So it's not coming from here. It's from here. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, so this will clean up our file a little bit better. Okay, so that's done for the background and the spaceship. So next I'm gonna bring in the light wrap so that it feels more cohesive between my elements, mainly the background and the ship. So to do that, I'll just bring this up higher. Okay, I will put on an EXR. Alright. So what I'm gonna do now is I will write out my background. Okay, and after that I will use that image as a node to light wrap my spaceship too. Okay, so to do that I'll just put on a right here. Okay, I'll just save this to a file. Okay, so I will be saving to tutorial, BG render. This hash here represents $F in Houdini, so it's the amount of frames, right? But over here it doesn't really matter because we are only rendering one frame. So we just press render. Okay, so that's done. Then I'll bring in through the read node our BG render. Okay, so here's our background, and I'm gonna use light wrap to light wrap my shot here to my background. So B is background, B to background, A is the stack on top. So if you look here, it doesn't look any different from our actual shot itself, and that's because we haven't generate light wrap. So by pressing this, we get nothing here. But if I bring up the intensity, right, you can see there's a faint line over there, and that's what we are looking for. So I'll just use diffuse instead, and I'll bring up a bit more. Okay, alright. See a bit more glow there. Okay. So this diffuse is how blur out the light wrap will be. And you don't want this light wrap to be so intense because it's a very subtle effect. So if you were to make it too bright, people can tell that it's fake. We just want this to, seamlessly blend our stuff together. Okay. So I'll put this to plus. Yeah. So you can see it's there. It's barely there. Okay. And you don't want it to be overbearing. Okay. So with that, the background and the spaceship's done. So next we'll move on to comping in our pyro shots we receive from our FX side of the team.